Schtick Show.
Heyo, welcome to a very special report from both Geek Freaks Network and the Joystick Show. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Thomas.
What up, what up?
This is amazing. James Gunn, the DC Savior, just announced Phase 1, Chapter 1 is what they're calling it, Gods and Monsters. Your immediate reaction, what are you thinking, boss?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, just some of the titles he's announced and the way he's talking about, like, the release schedule of things. I'm so fired up.
Me too.
Pumped.
Oh, it's pure hype in my veins right now. I've been texting people
Yeah.
out, Squeaks, did you see the lanterns? he's such a Green Lanterns fanboy, and it's like,
my
it's
God,
exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, okay. The Green Lantern is my favorite DC character.
Oh,
I mean, I was always
same.
a Kyle Rayner fan, and that was one character that I thought was super neglected in the Zack Snyder, DC universe, DCEU, if you will. And man, oh gosh, just hearing that it's like, it's going to be its own show, a priority. And he had Jon Stewart up there and Hal Jordan. It's like, oh my God, we are in for a ride.
Oh, and he said True Detectives. Motherfucker, are you serious? True Detectives is the exact thing I wanted out of a Green Lantern cop space program. Like,
oh
yes.
my God. Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like a great mystery, a great cop drama. And then you throw in Green Lanterns and like magic and space. Dude, how is this not going to be good? I mean, it just sounds amazing.
And it's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. You're dropping names.
Right.
Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So, yeah. I don't know. Do you want to start at some of the
Let's
beginning?
go the movies, and then we'll go TV shows, and then we'll go other announcements. I think that's our best bet. Okay.
Perfect.
We don't know
Let's
how
do
long
it.
this is going to be, guys. I think 15 minutes. We'll see.
Yeah. We could go 2
Movies-wise,
hours.
Yeah, really. We probably could actually, but let's try not to. First off, we have Superman Legacy. They use the art for Superman All Stars, and I know for sure that he's been tweeting that he's reading All Stars right now.
Right. Yeah.
Can you give a little bit of rundown what you think this might look like?
No, I'm not super familiar with the comic, but I will say that, I mean, I know it is not a origin story, which is going to be great. We're going to see an established Superman, kind of a second year Batman, almost like we got in the Batman, but for Superman. And so, I don't know. I think that this is going to be a perfect place to start. We all know Superman's origin story. That story's been beat to death.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Spider-Man now. Like, you don't need an origin story for it. But I think it's going to be an exciting way to kind of see, all right, now that he's established, the name is out there, and also take this in a direction that's going to be more pliable for the rest of the DCU. I don't know. Can you break it down a little bit more?
Well, comic-wise, I know just glancing from it, that it is Superman finds out he has a year to live, and so he like kind of really reflects on his life and goes around. And so I think obviously it's not going to be that. It's the start of Superman's career, not the end of it. But
Right.
I do think we're going to get this more wholesome, like introspective look at the character, and that's how we're going to get the origin of Superman. Not necessarily like Krypton's blowing up, blah blah blah. I think we're
Right.
actually going to learn more about what makes him tick. More
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. And also, like, what makes him tick after he already knows he's a hero. And I think that's the thing, right? He already knows he's the symbol for the world of, peace and the best you can be. All right, now where does that character go from there? And also, like, as much as I love Man of Steel, it's one of my favorite superhero movies ever. It really set a tone of what the DCEU was going to be. And almost a little bit, it was darker, it was grittier. Maybe this is a little bit more tangible for everybody else. Like, it's a little bit softer, if you will.
Like
I don't know.
humanity based, right? Doesn't it feel like we're gonna go with that route? That's what I want out of Superman. Like when he's leading humanity by example, which is what we see out of like Chris Evans' Captain America was that way.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted out of Superman.
Yeah, I didn't want to use that example, but you're right. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
He dropped James Gunn. Okay, so here's the thing, guys, for the announcements. We watched the public announcements, but I've been reading the moment those were supposed to come out. I've been reading the press announcements that were the day before, and one day we will be invited to those, guys. I promise you.
Oh, it's coming.
So the press announcements, he gave even more details, and in the press announcements, he dropped Guardians of the Galaxy's name a few times. So that's clearly an inspiration for all this.
Yeah, we'll get into it, and it'll probably spark my memory. It's too early for me, but he was kind of going through on his announcements, and he was referencing other things. I don't know if it was Marvel related, but he kind of referenced some other bigger franchises in the world so we can understand it. Yeah, and using True Detective to describe Green Lanterns is like, oh, okay, I get what you're trying to do here.
Oh, just fire. Okay, next up, Batman. Okay, you're talking Superman, you better talk Batman. and
Yeah.
it's exactly what I wanted. It's going to be The Brave and the Bold is what it's going to be called, and it's going to be Batman and Robin, and it's the best Robin. It's Damian Wayne. Oh yes,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do love Damian Wayne. I think that's super exciting, but also it's telling us like, yeah, like we're not going into Dick Grayson, we're not going into Tim Drake. Where Damian Wayne is an interesting choice. He's not my favorite Robin, but I do love that choice because it's showing us how far down the line in the stories we're gonna go.
right.
And the Brave and
Yeah.
the Bold is an insane place to start.
Yes, and what Damian Wayne means that that means you're bringing in the Bat family at some point because Damian
Exactly.
is thick into the Bat family,
And the League of
and
Assassins and Ra's al Ghul and
right.
yeah, I mean all that. So
It'll be
oof,
interesting to see how a younger Superman and a more established Batman are going to work together. They're both not
right.
starting at the same time. They both kind of are at different levels.
Yep, yep, exactly.
We have a Swamp Thing movie coming on, and he's outright saying this is a horror film. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay, then you're doing it right.
Oh
then
my
you're doing
god.
it right.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay. Because they had that show on what I think it was like the DC Universe Network or streaming service
Flash of
that
the
was like
pan.
yeah, exactly. So short lived. But Swamp Thing was a part of it, and that show was so good.
Yeah,
It was creepy. They made Swamp Thing look pretty scary, but it was pretty accurate to the comic. And just that story and everything. I haven't read too much Swamp Thing, but Kevin Smith has talked about it, and he's like,
mhm,
it is one of the most chilling and intense stories of any comic book character.
yeah.
Man, I just can't wait to see what they do with that. I mean, especially after we got Man Thing in the MCU. Oh my gosh, give me all the Swamp Thing.
Man Thing in the MCU was dope too. When he was a really cool character
Sick.
in
So
yeah.
good.
We also have a Supergirl story coming along our way. Supergirl, of course, they had the CW show. Now this is going to be its own standalone movie. Um, Supergirl will be introduced in the Flash, so it's probably going to be that one because they also mentioned that Ezra Miller is sticking around, so it'll probably be that
Really?
Supergirl. Yes,
Whoa, I didn't hear that. That I'm
that's from
pretty
the
surprised about.
exactly. He didn't mention that during the big announcements, did he? No, he did that during the press the day before, and so yeah.
That's a little insider baseball right there. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, he says in this announcement that the Flash will be the reset of the new DCU,
Yeah,
which I like and I appreciate because that's kind of what we all figured.
yeah, Flashpoint
And
definitely.
yeah, all right. Well, let's see. I mean, Ezra Miller has a lot of goodwill that he needs to keep building, I think, as we go forward with him.
Just to touch on Ezra Miller real quick, Gunn and Saffron were saying during the press conference that Ezra has been making really good strides in recovery. So that's why they're like, okay,
Oh,
we
okay.
could still use this Flash because
Okay.
because they are obviously getting better, and that was what they really wanted, right? If
Mhm.
Ezra's just gonna ignore the problem, then that's the problem. But luckily,
That is a
they
bigger
seek help.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
We also have now. This is a biggie. This is James Gunn, a new
Okay.
movie called The Authority, based off of an almost unknown superhero team. And I mean, it just stinks of Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like a ragtag group that nobody knows, and then you kind of just build up their story and their lore. Yeah, this is James Gunn's wheelhouse all the way.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly what you would want James Gunn to bring in, and then just kind of lift up some of those maybe unknown properties to the general public.
He told in the press conference, by the way, we're using Deadline's reportings from the press conference. That's who I'm using just so we could put the
Oh, strong
sources out there.
source.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he told them that we're going to use the quote diamond characters, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, to prop up the unknown characters and build this new team. And he was kept using Guardians as an example here, but Guardians to me is like already like it hit off without any help. But the idea
Mhm.
was like if you didn't know Guardians before, when they hopped up in Endgame, you knew them then.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so that's what he's saying. So like for the Authority specifically, he called out Superman. Superman will
Mhm.
be leading to or interacting with the Authority, and then Authority's off on their own. And I think that's a really good use of like the Trinity of like for one of the TV shows. We'll move on to the TV shows now. Is going to
Okay.
be Paradise Lost, which is all about Themyscira and will be a Themyscira story. This is your Game of Thrones, folks. That's what's happening, really. And
Yeah.
and Wonder Woman, of course, will pop up in this because that's where she's from.
Exactly. I love that that's the other big example that he used. Like this is Game of Thrones, but in Themyscira, I'm like, what? This
Yeah.
is insane. Like that really kind of blows my mind because it's just gonna be, yeah, what's a power dynamic and what's the world like for all of these women Amazonians and how did they figure out who rules and they're part goddesses and Yeah, I don't know. I'm so excited
Extremely
about
long
that and see where they
lives,
go.
magic.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you think we get a Gal Gadot tie in there, or do you think that's
I
she's
think they
now
recast Wonder Woman. Yeah.
wow? It's
I
gonna
think
be
with
crazy.
Flashpoint, you're gonna get an entire new cast for everything. That's how you could do it really with Flashpoint. That's how the only way DCEU stays canon is if you do Flashpoint properly. And I think
Right.
there's some quick reshoots on that one to make that work.
Yeah, he had like a good. He said something too, where like certain offshoots had a specific name. Like I think he called it like Otherworld, like
So
DC
DC Elseworld is a comic
Elseworld.
book line basically of when
Oh
they were
right,
like
right.
it's the equivalent to kind of Marvel's What Ifs.
What ifs? Yeah.
So, really good examples of this is Batman by Gaslight, which is Batman in Victorian era. It's one of his best stories,
Hmm.
and it just exists because it's like, hey, what if Batman existed in the Victorian era?
Right.
So that's how we're gonna keep the Batman. So that Matt Reeves meeting went well. That's what that means. We didn't know how that
Exactly.
went. Now we know it went well. Um, and that's how we're also gonna get. So that's how we're gonna get some of these side stories. Like the Joker is another one. Those are
Yep.
now he specifically said they're going to be clearly labeled as Elseworld stories.
Right.
I was hoping DC Black Label fine, but Elseworld works as well because there have been really cool adventures in there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I love that they get to keep their own canon. So it seems like Robert Pattinson, or Battinson, if you will, is going to have his own line and continue. That's great. I mean,
Perfect.
I just kind of want him untouched. And then they could bring in another Batman that probably fits with Superman Legacy and then the
Yeah.
Lanterns. And, well, yeah, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
And I think in future episodes of both George Stick Show and Geek Freaks, we're going to be doing some fan casting for all of these. We'll figure out who
Yeah,
should
oh,
be
yeah,
playing who.
definitely.
Because
Yeah.
I've got a whole bench of Batmans I want on this thing, so that'd be really cool. Other shows, we have Creature Commandos. This is an animated series. I don't know a lot about this, but during this part, he did mention that what DC is going to do different than other companies, aka Marvel, is that you'll see a character in the animated version. They'll go to live action. It'll likely be the same voice actor back to animated version. All these things are going to be interconnected. It's going to be pretty cool like that.
Oh my God, so awesome. I mean, I think it makes sense. Marvel has kind of done it with What If. They were trying to do it with Spider
What is a
Man.
good example? Yeah.
Yeah, high school or whatever they were calling it. So, and I think I don't know if X-Men 97, but they still are trying to bring those casts into kind of everything they do. It makes sense that James Gunn would try to emulate it, even though he kind of pitched it like it's an original idea. But I do love it regardless. Like I think it's
Yeah.
going to be so awesome to have that continuity between the characters through movies, shows, video games, animation, all that stuff.
James Gunn overall inspiration for the DC is going to be Star Wars because he wants to make sure everything's in a timeline, not multiverse.
I
And
love that actually.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the way I like to think of this is like, what if the Mandalorian popped up in Bad Batch and was played by Pedro Pascal? And
Right.
so I think that's going to be what we're looking at here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I guess Luke popping up at the end of Mandalorian season 2, maybe.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he was actually played by Mark Hamill, but maybe. So
he was voiced
yeah,
by him, but
he
like
wasn't
the
like
physical
motion
body was
capped by
somebody.
him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
some other dude.
But yeah, I love that because also they need a way. I mean, I hate to use this comparison over and over, but they need a way to distinguish themselves from Marvel and having it all in one timeline where there's a bunch of continuity. You can jump in different timelines and bring characters from the past. And as we see the future, which I think you're getting into,
Mhm.
like, yeah, with Booster Cold. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the next announcement.
All right, let's go right to Booster Gold. And since you brought Booster up, can you run down who Booster Gold is? This is going to be new for a lot of people, but he is big for DC fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even remember exactly what time period he's from, but he's from the future and he has all this tech and he's looked in the past and just kind of seen how amazing all these heroes were and the age of heroes were. And so he comes back to the past with his future tech and becomes a hero. But in his timeline, he's kind of a loser. Like
I
people
love that
don't
part.
really respect him in anything. So he gets to come back and act like he's the man because he gets to save people with all of this future stuff and kind of build his legacy in the past.
And
So
he
yeah,
super overdoes it. I love how he's just like,
yeah.
he's trying to be almost like a jock like you see on the CW shows or something like that. Like
Yeah, I got
super
you
overdone.
guys. I'm here to save the day. And everyone's like, okay, buddy, calm down.
And
Yeah, like,
he's just so technologically advanced that it's like, okay, you're a benefit. It's like if you went back to medieval times with an iPhone and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, guess what, guys, I'm Merlin now. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
sure, you have
yeah,
an iPhone.
exactly. I mean, yeah, he's kind of like good Kang in a sense, but only one time jump.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, he's an awesome character. He's gonna
that's
be great.
you got to be very careful of that casting. It's got to be someone who can carry that funniness and then like all of a sudden like oh man, I'm pretending or something like that. You know who you do actually? I don't know. We'll see.
You're right. I mean,
I think a Chris Pratt might be able to handle that.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like in a different time or different universe, I don't think he'll do it now because he's a little bit older and he's already done the Star Lord of it all. But if you have somebody who has the chops like a Chris Pratt, they're likable, they can be over the top, but then they can also be serious when they need to be. It's gonna be they
Yeah.
need somebody like that.
Yeah.
That character. Yeah.
And then of course they also get along with Blue Beetle very well. Like that's gonna be
Yeah.
yeah, their relationship. And Blue Beetle, they did say, or James Gunn did say, is still coming, is on the way. Is
Right.
four of the old movies are still in development, so that's good to
Oh
hear.
my gosh, I love Blue Beetle so much. I'm so pumped about this movie. I love Zolo. I don't really remember. I don't know what his last name is, but from Cobra Kai,
Mhm.
that character is gonna be amazing. And that character has been on the Teen Titans, and they've also been on the Justice League. So
Yeah.
that he might be at that perfect age where he can kind of be in both. You know, if they have like Teen Titan characters pop up at different properties, he can interact with them and also with the Justice League. It's man, what a time to be that kid right now.
I know.
And
Well,
that character.
that entire character and the everything's done with Latin American cast, director,
Yeah.
everything. So
Wow.
you're also bringing in people who have not been really. Can you think of a Marvel character? Like you really can't think of many of them that fit. Like everyone wants to see themselves in the MCU or the DCU.
Right.
Here's a version of that. That's why I like not
Absolutely.
to go into Marvel too much, but I think Ghost Rider really should be the second Ghost Rider because then
Oh,
you could bring in
absolutely.
the Latin American community that
Robbie
deserves
Reyes,
representation.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
there's people who love Johnny Blaze and
And he's
like
dope.
that's
Yeah.
their Ghost Rider, but like Robbie Reyes is my Ghost Rider. Like I
Oh,
love
that
Robbie
car.
Reyes.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
So sexy.
The Hell Charger or whatever they call. Oh my
Yeah.
god, so cool.
We have the Waller series. It's going to be a spinoff of Peacemaker. It's going to have Viola Davis. That's big money right there.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think this is going to be kind of the interconnective tissue, especially between movie and TV, because that's what Waller's really good at.
Right. And she's so good at like interacting and bringing a bunch of different characters in. So this is gonna be, yeah, that's so smart. She's amazing too.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have that Lantern series. It's going to be a detective space story with two Green Lanterns, two of the best Green Lanterns.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, I just like let's get Idris Elba. Like he's too old for the role, but like let's get some
I,
big
I
titles. Let's get big
know.
names.
I know, like, yeah. I mean, we got to be thankful that's coming because, I was so excited for the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. I was so pumped, and I saw it. I'm
Boy,
like,
I know.
what is this? Like, it just didn't make sense. But the constructs and the whole idea of a Green Lantern and using your will and just, oh man, it's so imaginative, the character, and it's so eye popping. So then to give it some weight with the detective side of it, and the two Green Lanterns who have interacted in the past, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, and kind of have butted heads sometimes and have different philosophies on things, is just gonna be, dude, I'm so stoked. I'm
Yeah.
so stoked for Green Lantern. This is amazing.
Not soon enough. However long it takes, it's not soon enough. I know.
Yeah,
Squeaks is over
dang
there
it.
losing his mind at work right now. I think he's going to leave work early to go watch all this stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's our movies and TV. We also got some other information. The idea for the next 8 to 10 years, this is what this plan is going to be. But chapter 1 is going to be from 2025 to 2027. They plan on doing 2 movies a year and 2 series a year, which will all go to HBO Max.
Okay.
And then yeah, they want to make sure to establish the Diamond characters. They don't need to establish them much. They're just going to put out a Batman movie basically. But then
Mhm.
like Batman movie is a really good example of like, hey, let's use Batman to interact with Swamp Thing. And then all of a sudden
Right.
now Swamp Thing's going off, and of course you're going to watch it because Batman's in it. Like that's just good business,
Exactly.
really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, how do we not make this comparison over and over? But it's like Spider-Man and Marvel. Like Spider-Man has interacted
Spider-Man's
with
a really good
every,
example. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's interacted with the Fantastic Four and been an Avenger and been, and interacts with the X-Men. It's like it's just a connective tissue with the character that everybody seems to love. It's so smart. And then also launching with Superman right off the bat, because if you do a good Superman story, I mean, that's your Spider-Man No Way
Yeah.
Home eventually, right? Man, there's a world where you could interact with whoever the new Superman is and Henry Cavill and I mean, it's just this is exciting. And
Yeah.
2025 actually seems pretty fast for me to have like to write a Superman movie, to film it, edit it, and get it out by 2025, middle of the year, mind you. That's pretty fast. I can't wait.
Yeah. They've already been writing. I mean, James Gunn's writing this one specifically himself. There's a couple of
Yeah.
things he says I'm writing it myself, and that he's got a very good. He's got some skill in that field, so I'm very happy with that because he's.
Absolutely.
I love when the person running the show is a comic book fan because I think we're in safer
Exactly.
hands. Uh, I I know he's gonna do a good job on Superman. I want to know who he's gonna pick because
Yeah, me too.
whoever he's gonna pick, it really doesn't even. It's probably gonna be a no-name actor, but
You
that
think?
person, yeah, I think that's his best bet because that person is now Superman here and forever. It's like if you're gonna pick, if you're gonna pick Mark Hamill, chances are people are gonna think Luke Skywalker, if not Joker.
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
what this is gonna
yeah.
happen to this kid, and they're gonna be Superman for the next 8 to 10 years. You know,
Yeah. And we, point proven like a Tom Holland has worked. Like Henry Cavill wasn't a household name when he got Superman or
yeah.
Man of Steel. So yeah, I agree with you actually. Yeah, I think that's the direction. I just yeah, man, whoever that kid is or guy or out there right now is like they don't know how much their life is gonna change in a couple of years.
Yeah, it needs to be someone probably around. I know this is gonna sound real young, guys, but I would say around 22 because the movie
Yeah.
comes out when they're 25, and then you're talking about them playing Superman until they're about 35, which I think
Yeah.
is about the right age for them to like complete Superman's story and still look like Superman and not like old man Superman.
Yeah.
Not Kingdom
Yeah.
Come Superman or something like that. So,
Right.
um, I
Yeah,
think that's
I
what we're
think
gonna
you
get.
nailed it.
So, uh, all right, guys. Obviously, we're pure hype over here. So let us know what you're most excited for. Thomas, out of all this, what are you thinking is the biggest thing you're looking forward to the most?
Oh my gosh. That's like trying to pick your favorite
I know.
child. I mean, I don't know. I really want to see the Superman legacy and I want to see what he does with that. Booster Gold, just because it's going to be such a, not off the wall character, but there's just so much fun they can have with that character. And of course, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, so definitely the Lanterns. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so pumped for that.
I myself am very excited for the Brave and the Bold because not only do we get Damian Wayne, which is my personal favorite Robin, but that unlocks the Bat family, and that's a different
Right.
kind of Batman. We talked about it on Geek Freaks. People who watch, and by the way, I don't know, people who read comic books, Nightwing just called Batman Dad for the first time. Oh, kill him!
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
But
those writers of Batman are killing it right now. It's
my
great.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know about Batman the dad, and he is the dad. He's the leader of a family, and this is finally going to show people that because not only is he dad, but then think about how you got this younger Superman coming around. He's going to be teaching Superman the ways of being a hero. That's going to be freaking cool to
Right.
see. And then also, of course, yeah, the lanterns. The lanterns is going to be so freaking dope. Whoever's making The Last of Us, hire them to help with the lanterns, and then we're
Yes.
set.
Oh my god, 100%. Yeah, give him the HBO budget too while we're at it. So all the
Oh,
constructs look
these all are.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, please let us know what your favorite is. We hit 22 minutes. We didn't hit 2 hours, but we didn't make the 15 either. So we're at 22 minutes of this.
Yeah. I think everybody can handle 22 minutes of amazing news and hype. So thanks
Yeah.
for, if you're still with us, yeah, thank you and you're welcome.
Yeah. See you guys next time. See you soon, probably.
All
Bye.
right. Hello, everybody. Bye.
Joystick Show. The Joystick Show.
If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow Joystick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.